Hey guys, are you ready? Y'all ready? Ben? You ready? Are you so excited?
Yeah.
Are you nervous?
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous.
You're pretty nervous?
I'm excited.
Grandma's here. Are you excited? Ezra's really nervous. I don't think that's the sound that pigeons make. There you go. Y'all are some farm kids. Farm kids in the city.
Farm kids are smart, right?
Farm kids are smart. I think that's a true statement. Look,
Farm kids are pigeons.
the kids did awesome in their Christmas program this morning at church, and the thing that they wanted to do, our celebratory family Sunday afternoon, was they wanted to come to the city. Now we're big pigeon whisperers. So we've been doing our best as a family to really draw a line on ethically sourcing our food and making sure it's farmed with ethical farming practices. And for the most part, we've figured out ways to do that, but the thing that is really difficult is going out to eat. And so we just don't go out to eat a whole lot. And when we do, we've really been trying to stick to places that source their food mostly locally and sustainably. And there aren't a lot of choices. So we just went night lunch at the Root Cafe. I didn't get any video because 3 children in a restaurant is quite enough on itself. But now we're down here about to get on a trolley because that's the thing the kids wanted to do.
Look at him.
Wait, don't knock him off into the road.
I said Penny, this is it.
Go ahead.
This is one squirrel.
What do y'all think?
See what?
It seems to go faster and Daniel's tired. Cool. Can y'all say thank you?
Thank you.
Hey, majestic beast. How are you? Oh, there's Gary. Not to be left out. Kitten George and Gary. Oh my goodness, attention time. So we're done with our family fun day. A really nice day visiting the city. Now it is almost sunset. I've got a cup of tea, and I don't think I've taken you guys around the farm in like 2 weeks, so we're gonna take a little look at it. There's not a lot to look at. Now I have been picking some salads. My salad bags are cranking it out now. I could obviously come out and pick another salad at any time. I've already picked quite a few. These greens are really, really good. They're nice and tender. And they're sweet because it's been really cool. I keep a little bucket of water out here from the well that I can just water them as needed. But the soil stays pretty moist. They're not drying out quickly. Actually, one of our little windows out here broke. We've got these little things that are heat activated that vent the windows. So Jeremiah's going to be fixing that pretty soon. Oh, are you plugging that in? Oh, look. The greenhouse has electricity now. That's not on a extension cord, right?
No, that's run to an extension box, which is why we have lights above the pavilion now.
Have you been liking these salad greens from out here?
Mm-hmm, they're good.
They're really good. I was just saying how soft they were. Yep, I'm actually about to start some other things out here. We've got to fix that window, which actually it probably wouldn't matter unless it gets really, really cold. Because
I'm a perfectionist and I'm gonna fix the window.
yeah, I mean, when it gets really cold, it'll matter. And when I start getting frost tender stuff out here, like when I start the tomatoes, that'll matter. But the stuff I'm starting next is cold hardy stuff, and so it probably won't matter that much.
I mean, it's not that hard of a fix.
I know.
Nice greenhouse.
Thanks, I like it all right.
Like the volunteer kale.
It's not a volunteer, it's left over from
What?
spring.
Mine came back.
Oh. That's not what that means.
What does it mean? Like birds pooped it out?
Volunteer, yeah, volunteer is like a seed
So,
fell.
so it's seeded kale?
It's not seeded. It's not reseeded. It didn't go to seed. It just died back and then kept growing.
I think the Lord manifested that kale.
Oh my gosh, please go feed the animals. Even with that window missing, it's actually like 65 degrees in here right now at evening with the sun going down. So the windows like really keep this greenhouse warm. And so I'm feeling really good about it. Last spring was a bit of a nightmare because I was using my plastic greenhouse. And on a sunny day, it's significantly warmer than outside. But on an overcast day or overnight, it maybe will keep it about 10 degrees above what it is outside. So last spring, I actually ended up having to carry all of my plants, and there were a lot of them. There was about 1,500 of them. I had to carry them back in the house multiple times because it was going to be getting so cold that I was afraid it was going to dip under freezing in the greenhouse. Not good. Definitely did not want to do that again. So this year, I'm really glad to have this glass greenhouse that holds heat so well. I don't think there's going to be any issue. We've got power out here, and so running a little space heater I think will be sufficient to keep this well above freezing temperatures and keep my plants happy. I'm actually holding out and waiting until after Christmas to start anything else out here. The reason for that being, I've been very intentional this month to be slow, to not rush on to the next project. I go 90 to nothing all the time. I like life like that, but it is very easy to like slip out of what truly should be the first priorities when you're that kind of person, when you're really like goal oriented and excited about the next thing all the time. And so this month I've been very intentional to tell lots of people no, to tell myself no a lot, and just kind of like take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to rest and be present. It's been very difficult. It's been good. I can feel the places that were tired like feeling rejuvenated, and I feel a lot of excitement now for what's next, whereas I was starting to get that feeling of like, okay, just a little, I guess, fatigue at having so much going on. So I feel great. Going to Baker Creek definitely had me super jazzed about starting my spring stuff. Been making my list, spending my time in my basement, going through the seed catalogs, and I am very eager. As soon as Christmas is over and Sweet Maya's birthday, which is 3 days after Christmas, next week, I'm gonna be out here in this greenhouse starting the seeds. I've had people asking me lately like when I start things, and I do have a pretty extensive video about starting seeds, and that covers it a little bit, but kind of the general rule is like 6 to 8 weeks before you're planning on planting something out. You don't want to start them way too early because you'll end up with plants that are too big. And I'm actually planning on planting a lot of my cool weather stuff out here at like the beginning of February, like beginning to middle of February. It'll still be frosty, but it's cool weather stuff, it'll be okay. And so that's why I'm gonna go ahead and start those things now. Now the frost zapped this kale that I had, but kale is super resilient, and so a lot of this is coming back, so that's really good. This is looking good. I can probably go ahead and start harvesting off of some of this. And then down here, these are actually a lot of kale sprouts, and I had planted a lot of these and they had gotten killed by the frost, but it looks like several of those are coming back, so that's cool to see. Most of the kale that got killed from the cold down here is gone, except for these little, I got 2 lone ones down here at the bottom that seem to have persevered. I got pretty bummed that we had several days of very cold weather, enough to kill things like kale and mustard and all that. I had some of those things out here. But then, like, now we're having, I mean, it hasn't gone below freezing but once in the last month, I think. So I'm like, man, like, if it's gonna get cold, let's have a real winter at least, but it hasn't. We are still gonna go ahead and build some row covers over some of these beds here pretty soon, before I'm wanting to plant stuff out in February or get those row covers up. But right now, it's been warm enough to actually grow stuff like kale outside. So we actually have power in the pavilion now. So we're getting really good. Someone asked recently about our beautiful mosaic table, and we just haven't built a frame for it yet, and we haven't been super rushed to do that. We'll make sure we get it out here by spring. But we haven't been spending a lot of time out here right now, obviously. If you have a rain gauge in your garden in a place where it does freeze, make sure you put it where it can't fill with water. I've lost many rain gauges that way. We sat down the other day and did like a very extensive plan for this year on the farm and like the garden, and really outlined the next 3 months of like tasks that we needed to get done. And this is weird. It's weird for me not to really have very much or much of anything in the garden right now. I haven't been without a garden in a long time, but it's been good. I'm starting to feel very ready to have my hands in the soil again. One of my plans this year is to fill these Greenstalk planters. I have 3 of them. I have these 2 green ones, and then I have a black one right there. I think I'm gonna do all herbs in those and just fill them up with herbs. Another thing that I'm currently doing, and I share these things because I've had a lot of people tell me that they kind of like gauge their to-do list based on what I'm doing, and that works if we're in a similar growing zone. You know, some of you are ahead of me and some of you are behind me, but I am currently sourcing my soil that I'm going to start my seeds with. I have a brand that I like, and I know enough about the company that I feel okay with it, and I have no affiliation with them at all, but it's just what I've used for years. It's called Bacto, but the prices on it have gone up significantly over the last few years since I started using it. So I've been trying to source a pretty good deal on like a pallet, or I'm open to other like bulk seed starting potting soil sources. Basically, I don't know what I'm doing, but I need to do something because I am going to be starting plants to sell as well as starting my own plants. And last year it was kind of just, I didn't really have a solid plan. I think I probably spent more money than I needed to. I know I spent more time going back and buying more bags. So I'm looking for like a bulk option, something that I will feel good about. I'm really nervous to try something new that I've not tried before, and I tried to do some mixing of my own last year. Some of it turned out great, but some of it that I tried to mix from the compost I got did not turn out great because the compost that I got was not great. So I don't know. That ended up being very time consuming, essentially, is what happened. That took a lot of time. So I'm looking for something that's not time consuming, basically. I think I will leave my tea mug right there. Hey, beautiful girl. We're currently figuring out a fencing way, figuring out what we're gonna do here, because I want to fence the top part of this yard to do an in-ground garden here. We were of course going to do it down there, but this I think will be easier. There was a bunch of compost that sat here for a long time, so the soil's really rich, and also there's already one long stretch of fencing. So if I just bring it over from here, this gives me a nice big in-ground garden. Don't you think, sweetheart? You think that's a good idea? I think so too. Marley agrees. Hey, Tori girl, you gonna come love on me? Oh, you're so beautiful. They're much more social with me when I don't have the big camera in my hand. It still makes them a little bit nervous. When I come hang out with them without a camera, they are a little more prone to love on me. Hey lady, look at these little chunkalumps, looking rotund. Well, it might not be much to look at during the day, but the garden's looking pretty lovely at night with all the new lights. And the Christmas tree in the window. So warm and inviting. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I bless you. Until next time.